From John Jr. Gotti courtroom declarations of bankruptcy to Karen Gravano chasing fame on reality TV after her father's betrayal, these are the heirs who fell from power to ruin, crushed by money troubles, public shame, and a deadly family legacy. John Jr. Gotti. John Angelo Gotti III, known as Junior Gotti, was born on February 14, 1964 in Queens, New York, to John Joseph Gotti Jr., the notorious Dapper Don, and grew up immersed in the Gambino crime family's world from a young age. His father rose to power as the Gambino boss in 1985 after orchestrating the murder of Paul Castellano, transforming the family into one of New York's most powerful organized crime syndicates. The Gambino family's operations included racketeering, extortion, loan sharking, gambling, and murder, generating hundreds of millions in revenue during John Gotti Sr.'s reign. After John Gotti Sr.'s 1992 conviction for murder, racketeering, and other charges, resulting in a life sentence without parole, Jr., at age 28, was named acting boss of the Gambino crime family. Between 2005 and 2009, Jr. faced 4 federal racketeering trials in New York, accused of crimes including murder, extortion, and connections to the 1980s murder of Louis DeBono. All 4 trials ended in mistrials due to hung juries or insufficient evidence, earning him the nickname Teflon Jr. However, the legal defense costs were astronomical, reportedly draining millions from his personal wealth. In 2010, Jr. claimed in court filings to be broke, unable to afford private attorneys and relying on public defenders. Today, Jr. Gotti, now 61, resides in Oyster Bay, Long Island, New York, living a relatively low-profile life compared to his father's flamboyant era. While Jr. struggled with legal battles that drained the family fortune, his sister Victoria faced her own financial challenges despite initial success in media and publishing. Victoria Gotti. Victoria Gotti, born November 27, 1962, is the daughter of the infamous Gambino crime family boss John Gotti and his wife Victoria DiGiorgio. Growing up in Howard Beach, Queens, in a family deeply entrenched in organized crime, Victoria lived a life of luxury derived from her father's illegal activities. The Gotti household was affluent, with wealth derived from illegal activities such as racketeering, extortion, and loan sharking. Victoria pursued a career in writing, becoming a published author and columnist. Her books include Women and Mitral Valve Prolapse, 1995, fiction novels such as The Senator's Daughter, 97, Superstar, 2000, and Hot Italian Dish, 2006. Victoria gained broader public recognition through the reality TV show Growing Up Gotti, 2004 to 2005, which aired on A&E. The show followed her life as a single mother, raising her 3 sons in their Long Island mansion. In 2016, Victoria's Old Westbury, Long Island mansion, a 7,000-square-foot property purchased in 2004 for $2.65 million, faced foreclosure. Reports indicated she owed over $600,000 in unpaid mortgage payments to J.P. Morgan Chase. Victoria's income from writing and media peaked during the early 2000s with Growing Up Gotti and her books, but declined afterward. Her last major media appearance was a 2015 People magazine interview discussing her family's legacy and her efforts to move forward. From the Gotti family's struggles, we turn to another daughter of organized crime royalty whose father's betrayal would forever alter her family's destiny. Karen Gravano. Karen Gravano, born in 1972 in Brooklyn, New York, is the daughter of Salvatore "Sammy the Bull" Gravano, a notorious underboss of the Gambino crime family. Growing up in a predominantly Italian-American neighborhood in Bensonhurst, Karen was immersed in a world where the Mafia was revered. Her father's high-ranking position brought significant wealth during her childhood, allowing the family to move to the affluent Tot Hill. In 1991, at age 19, Karen's life was upended when her father decided to cooperate with the FBI. Sammy's testimony against John Gotti and other mobsters led to 39 convictions, marking him as the highest-ranking Mafia member to break the code of silence. The family entered the Witness Protection Program and relocated to Arizona in 1994. In Arizona, Sammy organized an ecstasy trafficking ring in the late 1990s, involving Karen, her brother Gerard, and their mother Deborah. In February 2000, the family was arrested on federal and state drug charges. Karen pleaded guilty to charges related to wire communications and drug transactions, receiving 3 years of supervised probation. Karen sought to capitalize on her notoriety to rebuild financially. In 2011, she joined the VH1 reality show Mob Wives, which ran for 6 seasons until 2016. In 2012, she published her memoir, Mob Daughter, The Mafia, Sammy the Bull Gravano and Me, which became a New York Times bestseller. The Gravano family's fall from grace mirrors another tragic tale of children caught in the crossfire of their father's criminal life and subsequent cooperation with authorities. Mirrors another tragic tale of children caught in the crossfire of their father's criminal life and subsequent cooperation with authorities. Greg Hill and Gina Hill. Their lives were profoundly shaped by their father's criminal career and his decision to become an FBI informant in 1980. Henry was a key figure in the Lucchese crime family, involved in the infamous Lufthansa heist, 1978, drug trafficking, extortion, and involvement in the 1978-79 Boston College point-shaving scandal. Greg and Gina grew up in a tumultuous household marked by their father's alcoholism, drug addiction, and frequent absences due to criminal activities or incarceration. In 1980, Henry's arrest for drug trafficking and the looming threat of assassination by his former associates prompted him to become an FBI informant. His testimony led to approximately 50 convictions. As a result, Henry, Karen, Greg, and Gina entered WITSEC in 1980. The Hill family's entry into WITSEC marked a drastic shift in their lives. They were relocated to various cities, including Omaha, Nebraska, Independence, Kentucky. These frequent moves disrupted any sense of stability for Greg and Gina, who were 13 and 11 respectively. In their 2004 book On the Run, A Mafia Childhood, Greg and Gina provide a sobering account of their experiences. The book reveals a grim reality of fear, poverty, and dysfunction. A 2022 Reddit thread suggests that Greg may have become a lawyer, though no verifiable evidence confirms this claim. Returning to the Gotti dynasty, we find another family member whose quiet existence stands in stark contrast to the flashy lifestyle once funded by her father's criminal empire. Angel Gotti. Angel Gotti, born in 1961, is the eldest daughter of the late John Gotti, the infamous boss of the Gambino crime family, and Victoria DiGiorgio. As a member of the Gotti family, Angel grew up in a world of wealth and privilege, funded by her father's illicit activities. The Gotti family was known for their ostentatious displays of wealth, including luxury homes, cars, and clothing, which were often highlighted in media portrayals. In the early 2000s, Angel gained public attention through her participation in the A&E reality television show Growing Up Gotti 2004-2005, which featured her sister Victoria, and Victoria's 3 sons. Angel appeared in a supporting role, often depicted as the more reserved sibling compared to the outspoken Victoria. The series ran for 3 seasons but did not lead to sustained fame or financial success for Angel. Following John Gotti's 1992 conviction, the federal government seized many of the family's assets, including properties and funds linked to criminal proceeds. This significantly reduced the family's financial resources. Angel's attempt to leverage the Gotti name through Growing Up Gotti did not result in lasting financial success. Unlike her sister Victoria, who pursued writing and other media ventures, Angel did not capitalize on additional high-profile opportunities. As of 2025, Angel Gotti maintains a low public profile compared to her sister Victoria or brother John Jr., with limited information available about her current activities. Moving from the publicity-seeking Gotti family to the shadows of another powerful crime dynasty, we encounter a daughter who discovered her father's double life in the most shocking way possible. Rita Gigante. Rita Gigante, born in 1956, is the daughter of Vincent "the Chin" Gigante, the notorious boss of the Genovese crime family. Rita was one of 8 children born to Vincent Gigante and his wife, Olympia. Raised in a traditional Italian-American Catholic household in New York, Rita initially believed her father was a plumbing supply salesman, a cover story Vincent used to shield his family from his criminal activities. Around 1972, at age 16, Rita learned of her father's true identity as a mafia boss through overheard conversations and media reports. The discovery was a shock, as Vincent maintained a facade of normalcy at home, famously feigning mental illness in public by wandering Greenwich Village in a bathrobe to avoid prosecution. Vincent "the Chin" Gigante led the Genovese family from the early 1980s until his death in 2005. He was convicted in 1997 on racketeering and murder conspiracy charges, sentenced to 12 years in prison. The Genovese family's wealth, derived from illegal activities, was heavily targeted by federal authorities under RICO statutes. Assets such as cash, properties, and businesses linked to the family were seized, leaving little for Vincent's children, including Rita. Rita has stated in interviews that she did not inherit significant wealth from her father. After her father's death, Rita pursued a career as a spiritual healer, psychic, and medium. She founded the Church of All Souls in New Jersey, where she offers spiritual readings, energy healing, and meditation classes. Rita's primary source of income appears to be her memoir, The Godfather's Daughter, published in 2012 by Hay House. From the streets of New York to the hills of Sicily, our next story takes us to the daughter of one of the most feared mafia bosses in Italian history. Lucia Riina. Lucia Riina, born in 1980, the notorious Sicilian mafia boss of the Cosa Nostra, and his wife, Antonietta Bagarella. She grew up in Corleone, Sicily during her father's years as a fugitive, moving between Sicilian towns under false identities to evade detection. Her father, known as the Beast, was responsible for ordering over 150 murders, including the high-profile assassinations of anti-mafia prosecutors Giovanni Falcone and Paolo Borsellino in 1992. Italian anti-mafia laws have significantly impacted the Riina family's financial status. Following Salvatore Riina's arrest, his estimated $125 million fortune was largely seized, including a villa, 3 businesses, and bank accounts worth approximately 1.5 million euros. In 2017, Sicilian authorities denied Lucia a baby bonus after she gave birth to her daughter, citing her family's criminal history. Additionally, in 2018, the Italian state sent the Riina family a 2 million euros bill for the costs of Salvatore's 24-year imprisonment. In 2019, Lucia opened a restaurant in Paris named Corleone by Lucia Riina, which offered Sicilian cuisine and displayed her paintings. The venture sparked controversy in Italy, with critics calling it an attempt to profit from the town's mafia-associated name. The restaurant closed in 2020, likely due to financial difficulties or public pressure. Lucia moved to Paris in 2018 with her husband and daughter, seeking a new life after feeling oppressed and marginalized in Corleone. Lucia's attempts to escape her father's shadow pale in comparison to her brother's defiant embrace of the Riina legacy, despite the devastating consequences. Giuseppe Salvatore Riina. Giuseppe Salvatore Riina, often referred to as Salvuccio, is the youngest son of Salvatore Toto Riina, the notorious boss of the Sicilian Mafia. Born in 1977 in Corleone, Sicily, Giuseppe grew up in a family deeply entrenched in mafia activities. His father led the Corleonese faction and dominated the Sicilian underworld during the 1970s and 1980s, orchestrating a brutal campaign that included the assassinations of anti-mafia judges Giovanni Falcone and Paolo Borsellino in 1992. In 2002, at age 25, Giuseppe was arrested for mafia association, extortion, and money laundering. In 2004, he was convicted and sentenced to 8 years and 10 months in prison. He served his sentence and was released in February 2016. In 2016, Giuseppe published a controversial memoir, Beyond the Wall, which detailed his life with his father. The book sparked significant backlash in Italy, with many bookstores refusing to sell it due to laws prohibiting the glorification of mafia crimes. The Riina family's wealth was significantly eroded by legal actions and asset seizures. During the 1970s and 1980s, the Corleonesi amassed considerable wealth through heroin trafficking and corrupt dealings, but following Toto Riina's arrest in 1993 and the subsequent crackdown on Cosa Nostra, Italian authorities intensified efforts to seize mafia assets. As of the latest available information, Giuseppe lives in relative obscurity, primarily in Corleone, where he returned in April 2023 after completing his parole in northern Italy. In August 2024, he posted on social media wishing followers a happy holiday from Via Scorsone 24 Corleone, the former Riina family address, which was condemned as a vile attack by Corleone's mayor. While Giuseppe provoked controversy with his public defiance, his sister Maria Conchetta chose a different path of quiet desperation that would ultimately lead to her own legal troubles. Maria Conchetta Riina. Maria Conchetta Riina, born on December 7, 1974, is the eldest daughter of Salvatore Toto Riina, the notorious Sicilian mafia boss known as the Beast. She is one of 4 children born to Salvatore Riina, Giuseppe Salvatore, and Lucia. Growing up in a family deeply entrenched in the Sicilian mafia, Maria Conchetta's life has been shaped by her father's criminal legacy, which included orchestrating a reign of terror with responsibility for over 150 murders. In 2007, Maria Conchetta, her husband Antonino Chiavarello, and Katia La Placa established T&T Corporation Limited in the UK, involved in diverse activities including importing wine, oil, and coffee, operating an online lottery, and offering lightning-quick divorces. In 2015, Maria Conchetta registered another company, Corleone Cafe Trading Limited, which bore the name evocative of the fictional crime family in The Godfather, though she claimed the company never operated. Following her father's death in November 2017, Maria Conchetta and Chiavarello launched launched an online shop, Zu Toto, Uncle Toto, selling coffee capsules and olive oil branded in memory of her father. The venture drew widespread condemnation in Italy, and the site was shut down by authorities. The Riina family's wealth was significantly eroded by Italian anti-mafia asset seizures. In March 2019, authorities confiscated 1.5 million euros in assets from the Riina family, identified as proceeds of Toto Riina's criminal activities. As of June 2025, Maria Conchetta and her husband are under investigation for allegedly extorting two Florentine businessmen using mafia methods, involving extorting a basket of groceries worth 150 euros and 1,000 euros in cash. The Riina family's tragic descent continues with the eldest son, whose violent path led him directly into the heart of his father's brutal empire and a lifetime behind bars. Giovanni Riina. Giovanni Francesco Riina, the eldest son of Salvatore Toto Riina, was born in 1976 in Corleone, Sicily. Growing up in a family deeply entrenched in the Cosa Nostra, Giovanni was immersed in the Mafia's culture from a young age, with his father known as the Beast for his ruthless leadership during the organization's peak in the 1970s and 1980s. Giovanni's formal entry into the Mafia was marked by a heinous act at the age of 17, when under his father's orders, he strangled a kidnapped businessman in the countryside, a ritualistic killing to cement his place within the Cosa Nostra. Giovanni was arrested in 1996 at the age of 19 and convicted in 2001 for 4 murders committed in 1995, 2 years after his father's capture. These murders included the killing of a husband and wife in front of their young children, the wife's brother, and another individual in Corleone. The Palermo court sentenced him to life imprisonment, reflecting Italy's harsh stance against mafia-related crimes. Following Salvatore Riina's arrest in 1993, the Italian state confiscated significant family assets, including a vast mansion in Corleone, which was acquired by the town's anti-mafia mayor in 1997. Giovanni, serving a life sentence since 1996, has no access to any remaining family wealth or criminal proceeds. Laws include provisions like the Article 41 bis prison regime, which imposes strict isolation to prevent jailed mafiosi from managing criminal enterprises. From the Riina dynasty's violence, returning to American shores, we find another son of a famous informant whose involvement in his father's post-cooperation criminal activities led to his own downfall. Gerard Gravano. Gerard Gravano, the son of Salvatore "Sammy the Bull" Gravano, was born to the notorious former underboss of the Gambino crime family. Alongside his sister Karen Gravano, he grew up in a family steeped in organized crime as his father rose to the rank of underboss in the Gambino crime family. In the mid-1990s, after Sammy became a government informant and testified against Gambino boss John Gotti, the Gravano family relocated to Arizona under the Federal Witness Protection Program. In the late 1990s, Gerard became deeply involved in a large-scale ecstasy (MDMA) trafficking operation in Arizona, which was masterminded by his father. The operation distributed up to 30,000 ecstasy pills per week, reportedly generating $500,000 weekly. On February 24, 2000, Gerard, Sammy, Deborah, Karen, and 32 others were arrested in coordinated raids by the DEA, Phoenix Police, and other agencies. In June 2001, Gerard pleaded guilty to 2 counts: illegally conducting an enterprise and offering to sell and transport dangerous drugs. On December 13, 2001, he was sentenced to 9 years in prison in Arizona. Gerard was released from prison around 2010 after serving his 9-year sentence. Unlike his sister Karen, who gained public attention through the reality TV series Mob Wives and her book Mob Daughter, Gerard has maintained a lower profile. Gerard appears in the Sons of Ecstasy documentary, where he discusses his role in the Arizona drug trade. From one son's entanglement in his father's crimes, we turn to perhaps the most shocking betrayal in Mafia history, a son who chose to destroy his own father's legacy. John Franzese Jr., born in 1960 or 1961, is the son of notorious Colombo crime family underboss John Sonny Franzese Sr. His father, Sonny Franzese, was a legendary figure in the Mafia, serving as underboss from 1963 to 1967, and again in 2005, with a criminal career spanning over 8 decades. Growing up in Roslyn, New York, John Jr. was exposed to the Mafia lifestyle early on. His older brother, Michael Franzese, a former caporegime in the Colombo family, introduced him to organized crime around 1976. John Jr.'s life took a dark turn as he battled severe addiction, progressing from alcohol to cocaine and eventually crack. By the 1990s, his addiction led to a downward spiral, resulting in homelessness, living in New York City's subway tunnels, and contracting HIV from a dirty needle. By the early 2000s, John Jr. sought to escape the mob life, driven by his desire to overcome addiction and build a new life. He achieved sobriety on October 9, 2001, through a 12-step program program. In 2005, John Jr. began wearing a wire, recording over 400 hours of conversations with his father and other Colombo associates over 9 months. John Jr.'s testimony in 2010 was pivotal in securing Sonny's conviction for extortion, resulting in an 8-year sentence at age 93. John Jr. admitted to receiving $50,000 from the FBI as a cooperating witness, a modest sum compared to the potential wealth he forfeited by betraying the mob. In witness protection, John Jr. settled in Indianapolis, living under the name Matt Pozzarelli. The painful legacy of sons turning against fathers brings us to the family of the very first Mafia informant, whose historic testimony changed everything for organized crime families. Anthony Valachi. Anthony Valachi, the son of Joseph Valachi, lived in the shadow of his father's historic decision to become the first Mafia member to publicly acknowledge the existence of the American Mafia. Joseph Michael Valachi was a low-level soldier in the Genovese crime family whose 1963 testimony before the U.S. Senate's Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations marked the first public acknowledgement by a Mafia member of the existence of Cosa Nostra. His decision to cooperate stemmed from imprisonment and fear, believing that Genovese crime family boss Vito Genovese had marked him for death. Joseph Valachi's cooperation made him a target, with a reported $100,000 bounty placed on his life by Vito Genovese. He spent the rest of his life in protective custody, dying of a heart attack in 1971. Joseph Valachi was married to Mildred Riina, the daughter of Gaetano Tommy Riina, a former boss of what became the Lucchese crime family. Anthony, as their son, would have grown up in an environment shaped by his father's criminal activities and eventual betrayal of the Mafia. Joseph Valachi's decision to become an informant in 1962 and testify in 1963 likely had profound effects on his family. Breaking Omerta was considered a grave betrayal, resulting in social ostracism from Mafia-affiliated communities and loss of any financial or social support the family might have received. As Joseph Valachi's son, Anthony likely faced significant stigma due to his father's status as the first rat. The Mafia's code of silence meant that families of informants were often shunned or targeted, from the pioneering informant's family to the children of the last great Don who followed in Valachi's footsteps, breaking the ultimate taboo of Mafia loyalty. Children of Joseph Massino. Joseph Charles Massino, born January 10, 1943, led the Bonanno crime family from 1991 until his arrest in 2003 and subsequent conviction in 2004. Known as the Last Don for being the only New York Mafia boss not incarcerated during the 1990s, Massino rebuilt the Bonanno family into a powerful organization. Massino was married to Josephine Vitale, and together they had 3 daughters. His family lived in Howard Beach, Queens, a neighborhood known for its Mafia connections. During his reign, Massino amassed significant wealth, with estimates suggesting he controlled assets worth millions, including real estate and cash from criminal enterprises. Massino's decision to cooperate with the FBI in 2004, after facing a life sentence for 7 murders and the prospect of the death penalty for an 8th, marked a historic break from the Mafia's code of Omerta. His testimony led to the conviction of over 90 Bonanno associates. As part of his cooperation agreement, Massino forfeited approximately $12 million in assets, including real estate, cash, and other holdings accumulated through his criminal activities. The forfeiture likely included properties and funds that would have been inherited by his children, leaving them without the significant wealth typically associated with a Mafia boss's family. Massino died on September 14, 2023, at a rehabilitation facility in New York City, reportedly suffering from diabetes and obesity-related health issues. His death at age 80, after a decade of supervised release, indicates that he lived modestly compared to his days as the Last Don. The family's financial situation is likely further complicated by the need to maintain a low profile due to potential retaliation from former Mafia associates. Our final tale takes us back to Sicily, where the daughter of the Mafia's most wanted fugitive faces a future stripped of the billions her father once controlled. Children, 3 billion euros in assets linked to Dennaro's network, significantly depleting his resources. Matteo Messina Denaro died on September 25, 2023, from colon cancer shortly after his arrest. This has left Lorenza, now approximately 29 years old, in a precarious position. Lorenza is believed to be living modestly, possibly under a new identity, or in obscurity, given the intense scrutiny on her father's network. The lack of access to her father's wealth, combined with the Mafia's weakened state in Sicily, suggests she is no longer living the luxurious lifestyle once associated with Dennaro's empire. Thanks for watching. If you found this video shocking and thrilling, be sure to check out other similar and amazing videos on the screen. I'll see you in the next video.